Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Americas Stage 2 for Week 3. My guest at this time is Mitch of Cloud9, this time coming off of their match against Sentinels, in which they came out on the losing end, thus putting them into a 2-1 record so far in the regular season of said competition. So, Mitch, thank you so much for the opportunity. Really do appreciate it giving me another chance for another interview. And as I said, in the introduction, losing to Sentinels, want to ask you first and foremost, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling? How are you processing the result?
First off, from playing them in split one playoffs to now, it feels like it's a lot better. Honestly, even though the score doesn't reflect it, I think we made a lot of like small mistakes in the late round, so it kind of bit us in the butt. But um, it felt honestly pretty good playing against them. They're a really great team. They have a lot of firepower, obviously, and we were just a little bit, discombobulated, and they took advantage of it like a good team would.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like on paper, this match, well, next to the G2 encounter, is probably the most toughest match you guys had to play in for this regular season. And then, like, you guys got yourself in a pretty good position in the standings prior to today, and kind of like led one to believe that this match would be much more closer. Obviously, we saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
In the series itself, losing 2-0. But nevertheless, I want to ask you just sort of like in detail for these two maps, just sort of like, of course we saw Cloud9 finally get into the swing of things in map two and, in the late stages of that. But obviously you had to go through the struggles. And so we saw that play out in map one on Lotus, which is Sentinels, which obviously a pretty strong map. But, what do you think prompted you guys to start off on the backside in the early parts of this series?
Uh, obviously we lost Pistol in the beginning of the series, and then we ecoed them, so we were coming off on like a very good foot, and then just going into B and dying on that third round, getting ecoed there, really it kind of takes the wind out of the sails, I guess. Like if we didn't have that eco happen, which like kind of set the tone for the rest of the half, it kind of hurt us a lot. I think like mentally and maybe like it made us overthink, I guess, in the later rounds. So um, yeah, it was just a tough game all around. Like being down, losing bonus and all that, having a bunch of money, like Sen having a bunch of money for the whole half and having ults, it's very hard to come back from against a good team.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And like obviously, yeah, like I said, you guys were able to get back into the rhythm, get back into the swing of things in the late stages of the second map. And so, what was it like just trying to get through the team talk in between the map one and map two? Say, okay, you know what, map one's done. We can't change anything about it. So let's just focus on map two and Haven and our map pick. What was that transition like for you guys?
It was kind of like, yeah, map one happened. We played really well, except for in the late rounds where obviously like they took advantage of how we were playing. But going into map two, we were very confident. It was our map pick. We had a good game plan going in, um, and obviously like starting down again it's very tough and getting back into the swing of things on defense. Haven it is hard when you don't have money. Like I said again, they're just controlling everything and um obviously like some of the nerves do play an effect, like uh we're doing some things, individually solo, and we're um kind of just over peaking, I guess, and it really hurt us against Sen today.
And like going into in the second half of Heavy Haven, obviously you guys were starting to win consecutively on the attacking side, and then that kind of brought out some potential for a possible comeback onto that. And then like obviously Narrate stepped up and came in clutch in a few critical rounds, and that kind of
Yeah.
like put the nail to the coffin onto that series. So like minus like the missteps on that part, how did you look at the team's performance with in that time frame, and what do you think that will kind of play into how you guys will learn from this series into the future, and continuing the rest of the regular season?
I mean, obviously, I think for us, it's like we have to really emphasize late rounds in our practice and get better at closing out rounds when we're in an advantage, or even if it's like an equal numbers, situation. We have to really focus on that, playing together and uh, being able to close out those rounds against good teams, even with the pressure and nerves. We gotta set those guidelines down, obviously. So.
With that said, now, as I said, Cloud9 is currently 2-1 in the regular season, which, I mean, all things considered, is a pretty stable and pretty good foundation for you guys to be on and then continue on to the rest of the regular season. And amidst all of this happening, we've seen regarding this team role changes. And I had a chance to talk to Giuseppe about his move to Sentinel and how that's been going on for him. And he's been saying that it's been going pretty decent, pretty well for this team, and he just wants to contribute in any way he can to the squad. And so, in light of that, you had to kind of move over to a different position. Obviously, not really different because you already been playing that kind of role for a good while before. But
Yeah.
what's the transition been like for you, and how have you been trying to um, work around these role changes in this game plan amidst also this point of the meta?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like Zeppa is a very smart player and he could play a lot of different roles. For me personally, though, like you said, like it's been basically the same in this meta for me. I'm playing a lot of the same agents. Um, Obviously, it's like kind of like old meta for some of the maps, like Haven we're playing. Sky Viper still. A lot of teams aren't doing that. They're moving over to like Neon Viper, Sova, all that. It's kind of new, but I don't particularly think that one comp is better than the other. I think it all comes down to like individual play at the end of the day. But I think everybody is like moving into their roles very smoothly. And like I said, in practice, it's been very nice, playing every day and just moving forward, step by step. So I think we're very comfortable where we're at.
So far in the overall makeup of stage two in the Americas, percentage wise, out of all the agents that have been played on all the maps so far, we've only seen 9% of it being played on the sky, and of course, you've been playing on the sky for a good amount of it. Just want to ask you just sort of your thoughts on the usage of that agent in line of where we stand right now in the game. What kind of gives you the sense of, okay, I can keep on using her in these kinds of maps and these kinds of situations, and how does that make you kind of stand out from other people who would not really go to that direction?
Um, I'm not too sure because I think Sky is still very viable on like a lot of maps. Everybody's moving towards, either playing Sova or Fade on a lot of maps, which is understandable. I mean, they're still very strong agents, but I think they're kind of moving that way because of the Vise, maybe, or the Sentinel meta that's like double Sentinel or whatever. But we kind of just look at it and we game plan around it, and we see that there is like things that we could exploit with Sky, and it is like a comfort thing as well. Like I am very comfortable playing Sky on every map, so um I don't know. I'm not sure why people are like straying away from Sky, too much, but I think they will probably buffer in the future as well, and we'll be on top of that, right away.
Given that you've been competing in this game for a good while, you've obviously seen plenty of versions of the meta come and go, and obviously this kind of time frame is no different. What makes this similar or different to past metas that we've seen in this game, and also in line of the similarities that you've been kind of seeing? What time frame can you kind of recall and say like, oh, this reminds me of what happened in such, and so on and so forth?
Um, I think it's still a very heavy Viper meta on like almost every map. So I mean, whatever the Viper Harbor meta was, I forget what year it was, but it kind of reminds me of that where it's just double controller every map, and there's always Viper wall, there's always smokes down. So I mean, it's very similar to that meta right now, and I'm not sure what it'll move into if anything gets nerfed, but um, that's how I kind of see it right now.
With that said, now you guys look into the rest of your schedule, of which will feature. And let me just double check one more time before I kind of spread out anything. 2G and G2, the asymmetric or symmetrical teams. I don't know what's the right way to call them, but these two are left in your schedule. So, any thoughts, opinions, concerns, or anything like that for the road ahead and your um, expectations for qualifying for playoffs and all that good stuff?
I mean, yeah, we're very confident we're going to qualify for playoffs, and I think there is. I mean, not even depending if Leaf is playing or not. I think we're still like very confident against G2. 2G obviously is, like they could be good on any given day as well. So we're gonna take them very seriously. I think we're very confident. We're in a good spot even with this loss today. So we're just gonna keep moving forward.
And moving forward, you shall do for now until the rest of the season. And so, Mitch, thank you so much. I gotta give you another thanks for another interview so far in the season. Kind of seeing the blurry part of me, so I mean, kind of. Oh, now you can see me all clear.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for the answers, the interview, and all that good stuff. And of course, best of luck goes to you for the road ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.